All right, Marvel. We need to talk. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the latest film from Marvel Studios. It marks the beginning of Phase 5, and it is right now the current subject to a lot of controversy, a lot of backlash, and a lot of just generally mixed reviews. It's currently the second film in the entire MCU to sport a rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and granted, I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes that much. I really don't put a lot of stock or trust into it, but it is something worth noting, and it's something to kind of keep an eye out because the MCU is generally liked by audiences and even by critics. And I wanted to start by saying I'm a fan of Marvel. I enjoy Marvel. I have really enjoyed the MCU for the most part. I've loved comic book characters and stories for a really, really long time, ever since I was a kid. So I am a fan of Marvel and these stories and these characters. I find them to be a lot of fun. But I saw this yesterday. I saw this last night, and I don't know. It's just not sitting well with me, and I can definitely say that I'm not a fan of this one. But I want to start with the positive elements. It's not a total dud, and a lot of the positive elements of this film come from Kang. Kang is absolutely carrying this movie, and that's thanks in large part due to Jonathan Majors' fantastic performance as Kang. I am just so excited to see where this character goes, where they take this character, where they take Jonathan Majors as an actor, because obviously if you saw Loki, they're dealing with all of his variants, and they kind of talk about all the different variants that he has. So you can obviously assume that's going to show up later on in the MCU. And so I'm really excited to see how Jonathan Majors kind of brings more variants of Kang to life. And here he is a truly menacing threat. It gets me very excited for the future of the MCU because I know Kang is kind of the lasting presence for the next few years. And so I'm excited to see where they take his character, what he's able to do, the threat he's going to be throughout the entire MCU for the next few years. It does get me pretty excited. And I do have to give some praise to Paul Rudd's performance. I do think he does a great job here. He's obviously a super charming, super funny actor, and so he's always just really likable on screen. But I think here he does an actually pretty great job. You can definitely see the care he has for his daughter in the film, and for the other people around him, and for the threat. He really does pull some great acting moments here, and he proves that he's not just some charming comedic actor, but he does actually has some great chops. And I'll tell you, every single bit with Kang in it, or dealing with Kang, and even his dynamic with Scott, it's awesome, and it's really, really engaging. It's really interesting, and you feel the threat that Kang is, and you feel what's at stake here. But everything else in the movie just really doesn't work for me. And I do want to mention this now before I forget. The visuals are just awful, and I'm not talking like cinematography, framing, anything like that, or even the colors are pretty nice, but it's the visual effects. And I know this has been a problem for the past couple of years in the MCU, especially after a lot of their digital artists came out and were really frustrated with Marvel and how they were overworked and didn't have much time to, create entire movies, and I was really holding out hope that it would get better here. The trailers looked decent. They had good visual effects, and it just does not get better. It's just not. There are blatantly ugly shots here where it doesn't even look like they were blended correctly. And I'm not blaming this on the digital artists. They have the talent. I've seen what they're capable of in other MCU films. It's 100% the studio. And it's frustrating because I want to watch a grand sci-fi adventure film with really great visual effects, but there's so many obviously blue screen or green screen moments. There's so many weirdly designed characters, and it just doesn't fit. There's scenes where the action, it just looks weird, or there's frame drops, and it just looks bad, and it makes me uncomfortable because I want to watch a fun Marvel movie with really great visual effects, and it's not here. And I gotta talk about MODOK because I gotta be real, I'm kind of an ironic enjoyer of MODOK. I like his kind of goofy character in the comics, but at least he's actually a villain in the comics, and he actually has stuff to do. Here he's got absolutely nothing to do, and I don't know. It weirdly fits, maybe because there's like not much happening in this film, so maybe him not having anything to do kind of fits that. But he's just a joke punching bag. He's just comic relief, and I wanted to have a character in the film that actually had something to do, but he doesn't. I was really frustrated by that. Speaking of having nothing to do, let's talk about Hank, Hope, and Janet, who just get absolutely sidelined in this film. Even though the Wasp, like, her name is in the title of the movie, she has nothing to do here. Hank is just, like, Michael Douglas is on autopilot for this whole film. And Janet, she actually gets like a boost in like her role in the story, but even then it still feels like she's not really doing anything. Like she's just there to exposition dump whenever she's needed, and other than that she's just kind of chilling. And it's like, what happened to these characters? What happened to these characters from the first one that you like really understood these characters, you understood their dynamic, you really actually cared about them to a degree? Here you just don't care. I just didn't care about these characters or what was happening at all, if they were doing anything. I didn't care. And I think that's like the story with this film, is that like it just didn't give me enough to care about what was happening. And it's such a weird dynamic because it feels like there's a lot going on. Like it felt like I was getting bombarded with different things, different elements, different creatures, different like ways the like quantum realm works. And at the same time, none of it felt consequential. None of it felt like it mattered to any sort of degree. And so it just creates this this viewing experience where I'm like, what's the point? Why should I care? Why would you do this? What's the point of this? Like, obviously, Kang's going to play into the larger story, but without saying any spoilers, by the time you hit the end of the film, it's not really anything that you could have done in another film and taken further. Like, it doesn't really carry that much weight, and I really wish it did. The thing that made Ant-Man as a character so interesting and so likable was that he just felt down to earth. He felt like the hero that was just like a normal dad, just trying to care for his daughter, but also ends up saving the world. Like, his stories and his character just felt so down to earth, and that's where he really thrived. He just thrived in the down to earth kind of normal middle-aged dad kind of area, and he feels so stripped of that here. He feels like he doesn't belong in this larger, kind of weird sci-fi kind of story. Like, just give me the small down-to-earth stories. The first Ant-Man film is so much fun. Why? It's not because of the story or the implications for the MCU, which, here there's not really any of that. No, it was the characters. It was the way you could feel that he cared for his daughter. It was his weird ragtag group of friends and his criminal buddies. It was his dynamic with Hank and with Hope and with all of that, and how it was just taking down this corporation that had the tech to do something dangerous. But it was just like a small heist film. They were just trying to rip off the corporation. And like, that's what made that film so special, is that it felt self-contained, but yet it still played a role in the larger story. That's what I want out of Ant-Man films. And that's what I didn't get here. And that is my major issue with Ant-Man. The more I've thought about it as I was typing out my thoughts for this review, it just wasn't sitting well. And there's just not much that I can say. I would not personally recommend it. If you're interested in watching it, go see it. I didn't think it was very good, but I am excited to see the future of Kang in the MCU. I do think there's a lot of potential still there. I don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania ruined Kang or anything like that, because, like I said, he is carrying this movie. He's the lone bright spot in this film. But the MCU has some things they need to fix, and if they want to continue to keep my interest peaked, they gotta fix some things, or otherwise I'm gonna lose my interest really fast. But what did you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, it's got a lot of mixed reviews. So did you love it? Did you like it? Did you kind of hate it? Did you really hate it? Let me know. Put your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon, and I'll see you in the next one.